Hello ladies and gentlemen of YouTube, this is Megneous and welcome to our very first real live video recording. I apologize, we should have done this like months ago. In fact, I should have done it 4 months ago because I promised I would do a real live video recording for a questions and answers thing when we got 100 subscribers. Not to mention the fact that we did it again for 5,000 subscribers and we're now at 20,000 subscribers. I apologize, it took me forever to figure out how to use this camera, and I'm doing it now and, you know, it's not so great. I'm just going to talk about this for just a little bit. I'm wearing my suit, just like I said I did. I told you guys that I would wear a suit, and I take this thing quite seriously. And who wouldn't want to wear a suit if I'm going to put my face on the internet anyway? Speaking of putting my face on the internet, some of you may be like, holy crap, I know this person! Because I know that some of my students here in Korea actually, when they saw that I did YouTube and had a Minecraft Dinosaur series, they were like, holy crap, I've seen your Minecraft Dinosaur series, you're famous! And I was like, oh, well, okay, that's cool, I guess. But yeah, so anyway, we're just going to continue with this. Since I did the 100 subscriber question and answers thing, I never answered those questions. I'm going to answer their questions first because they were some of my first subscribers and I love them so very much. So let's start with that, and then we'll go on to the 5,000 subscriber list of questions, and I'm going to try to answer all of them. If I miss your question, I'm very sorry. Please ask me in the comments below, and we may do this again at some point in the future. Oh, and I was going to mention, guys, my ears are huge, but I remembered that I'm wearing this headset so you guys can't tell. It's amazing, isn't it? Also, how do you like my suit? Yeah. Alright, so anyway, let's go ahead and continue. I'm going to read these. Let's see, I'm going to move this over here. Number 1, Mario Cat Gaming asked me, plans for the future? Yes, so this was 4 months ago, so the future is now. I don't really have any particular plans for the future in terms of my channel. I thought, you know, I'll just do this as a hobby, and then it became more popular than I thought it ever would, and now I'm suddenly living off of my YouTube revenue. So I figured that I may as well show you guys my face anyway, since you guys are supporting me in terms of standard of living and stuff like that. Plans for the future. A lot of people go from YouTube into real-life television, but I don't really want to do that because I don't really watch television, and I don't really like people who watch too much television, and I don't really like working with people. I'm sort of antisocial, so I sort of enjoy the whole independence of being an independent YouTuber thing and not having to worry about working with directors and producers and actors and actresses, I guess, maybe? I don't know. Anyway, so I don't have any particular plans for the future. Mario Cat Gaming, also known as Lewis. If you haven't checked out his channel, you should totally do so. It's in our list of friendly channels on the right of our channel page. Cataconator asked, cookies or cupcakes? My friend, cookies. Cookies are amazing. I love cupcakes, but cookies are much better in my personal opinion. I apologize if I offend any of you cupcake lovers. Very, very sorry. But cookies are better. Deal with it. Tim3LPs asked, how did you get into YouTube? This is a really common question for YouTubers, I think. And for me, it's not really that complicated. I buy lots of games on Steam summer sales and winter sales. In fact, all the sales. I buy all the games. And then I never played them. Ever. I just sort of was like, yeah, I mean, I'll play it eventually. And then I just ended up playing maybe like one game over and over and over again for like Terraria. Terraria, for example, I have 70-something hours on Terraria at the moment. And for some of the other games that I bought, like Skyrim, which were much, much, much more expensive, I only have maybe 12 hours, something like that. It's not that great. So I thought I need something to motivate me to play these games that I spend who knows how much money on anyway. So I decided to start a YouTube channel. If you check my earlier videos, you'll discover that they're absolutely terrible. You shouldn't watch them, really don't. I deleted a lot of them because they're really, really bad. I also didn't get permission from all of the publishers to monetize them and stuff like that, so I got rid of them anyway. But they're not very good. It started off as really I had no idea what I was doing. Things are better now. Better now, mind you, but they're still questionable at times, perhaps? Oh well. Anyway, moving on to the next question. Oh, Terraria is cool. That's not a question. Okay, Sir Pyromaniaco, whom I gave a free copy of, I believe, Portal 1 and Portal 2. He was one of my giveaway winners. What made you want to start doing YouTube videos? YouTube videos are awesome, I think. Whenever I have a game that I don't know if I want to buy it or not, I always go to YouTube and look for a Let's Player who's doing it, so I actually know what the game is about. Advertising game advertisers and companies, they don't really do a very good job of showing us what games are like, so I appreciate the Let's Play community for that, and I thought that would be sort of a cool hobby to do, and it would motivate me to actually play the games. My rule for games, by the way, is if I get at least 1 hour of gameplay time per dollar I spend on the game, then it's a good investment for me personally. I paid $2.50 for Terraria, and that has been... I have like 3 days of gameplay time on Terraria compared to not getting $1 per hour for Skyrim, so I guess Terraria wins in that regard. A lot of games win in that regard, actually. We'll talk more about them with some other questions, because I know other people ask me about my favorite games. Let's see, this is one of my favorite questions here. Yuri Gala Gaming, maybe? My question is, if you could design a game based on any current event or situation, what would it be and what genre would you make it? Action, adventure, sim, etc. This seems to have been a popular question because it has 11 likes, 11 thumbs up. I can answer this question. I thought about this question a lot actually before starting this interview. If I had to base it on a current situation or political event, I would probably go with my love of space. I would want to make something that goes along with the idea that we are racing against China to land on Mars. I think that would be absolutely amazing. I would go for that. I would make the thing so you have a space program, sort of like Kerbal Space Program, where you recruit astronauts with various skills, where you design rockets, and you launch rockets, and you launch rovers and stuff, and satellites to get information about Mars, and you design habitats, and spacesuits, and all of that, and you race China to be the first person to land people on Mars. And not only would you have to land people on Mars, but personally, I would try to make the game so that you have to sustain a colony on Mars, or at least some sort of semi-permanent research base, because I think that's the future of space. I think that if we just go and land on Mars and come back and never go back again like the moon, who the freak cares if we go one time anyway? I mean, going to the moon was cool and all, but I want to stay on the moon. I want to stay, in lunar orbit. I want to go to Mars. I would prefer if we also send people to Europa and Enceladus and Enceladus. I'm sorry, I mispronounced that. Enceladus. Anyway, so yeah, I would totally make a space game where I design a program to beat China to land and colonize Mars. I also have another idea for a game that I got from playing Don't Starve. I think that Don't Starve is an amazing game. I love Don't Starve, sort of crafting survival games, but because I also love dinosaurs, I want a crafting survival game with dinosaurs. Basically, you're shipwrecked, and then you wake up on the beach of an island somewhere, and it's covered in dinosaurs, and you have to collect raw materials from your environment to make traps and weapons and shelters to survive on this very large island. And there are various biomes and stuff in this island, maybe some sort of desert and then a rainforest. I know that islands generally aren't that big, but it could be a really big island, sort of like a small continent maybe, a mini continent where it's covered in dinosaurs. I don't know how that would exist. Suspend your disbelief for this game, but I would freaking love a crafting survival game based on dinosaurs. Killing dinosaurs, sort of like a Monster Hunter. If you guys have played Monster Hunter, something like that, but with more of a survival kick in it, not just go out and kill monsters hack and slash style. Dinosaurs, yeah. Dude, I would love to make a coat out of dinosaur skin or make a tent. Oh, that would be so cool. I wonder what dinosaur meat tastes like. Probably exactly like chicken, since chickens evolved from dinosaurs anyway. But anyway. Someone's name that I can't really pronounce, Digdisa asked me, are you going to add Mo creatures to your Dino Minecraft LP? The answer is probably no, not at the moment. I don't have any plans to play Mo creatures, but I do have some plans to possibly play some other mods that we're looking into at the moment. Pixelmon being one of them, Galacticraft being the other. I'm not really sure when we're going to get on that exactly, because time and schedules and real life and stuff, but we're working on it. We're thinking about it, and by we I mean me and possibly other YouTubers that I'm talking about collaborations with. You know who you are. Okay, so moving on. What was the first game you remember playing by Rambling Dragon? The first game that I remember playing, honestly, the very first game would probably be that Pong game that I played with my father in a motel, maybe when I was about 5 years old. I was in a motel, and father hooked up this box to the TV, and the box had 2 smaller boxes attached to it with little dials, turning dials. Some of my subscribers, you may be a little bit too young to remember this, and some of you may be older and totally do, which is totally awesome. But You controlled the paddle in Pong by turning the dial back and forth. Very different from current gaming, but very awesome nonetheless, and I remember playing that a lot with my father. And I also remember playing the original Asteroids game on an Atari. Those are probably some of the first games that I ever played, and they were totally awesome. I still occasionally play Asteroids on like web browsers because Asteroids is totally cool. Hopefully one day in real life we'll play Asteroids in real life somewhere out there among the stars. Okay, let's see. Roscoe was here. I haven't seen Roscoe actually in a while. Roscoe, where are you? Leave a comment below. I miss you, Roscoe. Roscoe was here, asks, how do you plan on expanding your channel game-wise? Do you plan to look into any collaborations? And of course, as some of you know, I've already done some collaborations. I did a short Terraria collaboration with Wes and Gravesy. I did a short Monaco collaboration with Super RoboPlay, Alex and Jason. Unfortunately, that didn't do so well in views, so we decided to stop that. If you guys want more collaborations, you guys should totally view the videos. Let me know that you enjoy collaborations, because otherwise we tend to cancel them and try to do some other things to get us more views, because views are sort of important here on YouTube. But yeah, I've done collaborations, and I do plan on doing more collaborations. In fact, now that I'm pretty large, 20,000 subscribers, yay! Thank you guys, by the way. 20,000 subscribers, totally awesome. I think that it's about time that I start meeting some more YouTubers, because my circle of YouTubers is actually quite small at the moment. That's unfortunate. I am the Avarice asks, couple of quick questions. What's the game that got you into gaming? The first game you truly loved? That's very nostalgic. There were a few games. The very first game that I remember loving, was Phantasy Star Online. It was originally for the Sega Dreamcast, but I started playing it on the Xbox, the original Xbox, not the Xbox 360. And I played it on Xbox Live, and I had a headset, and I had a group of friends, 3 friends, that I met online, and I met every single day, and we played every single day together. I played Phantasy Star Online so much in a 9-month period that I had 6 months of gameplay time on that game. I was the 8th legit level 200 character on the Xbox Live servers for Phantasy Star Online. Speaking of Final Fantasy, that was the second game that I truly fell in love with. Final Fantasy XI. It was an online game, MMO. Currently, Final Fantasy XIV is re-releasing, trying to get some more people to play it again, because, they broke our dreams and killed us the first time they released it because it was so terrible. But yeah, I loved Final Fantasy XI as well. Actually, true story, I met my first girlfriend on Final Fantasy XI, and I dated her for 2 years, and I flew across the United States from Georgia to California 3 times, and lived with her in California when we were dating. That's a fun story. You should ask me about that sometime, guys. A really, really amazing story. But yes, Final Fantasy XI was sort of my home. I lived in Santeria, and that game was my childhood, probably. So, all right, let's see. The first games that I really loved. If different, what's your favorite game of all time, and what game is your guilty pleasure? What is my favorite game of all time? My favorite game of all time was probably... I'm trying to decide. Probably Final Fantasy XI. Final Fantasy XI definitely, warms my soul when I think about it. It's really, really personal to me, especially because, I fell in love with someone. Through that game, so I guess that's sort of a bias. But my guilty pleasure game is probably EVE Online. I don't play EVE Online right now because I don't have enough time to commit to such a serious game, but it also was very, very good. It was amazing, so in-depth, so the market was so good. I had a station trading character that I just left in Jita, and I made billions of ISK, but I ended up I stopped playing because I realized that all I was doing every day was amassing more and more money. Camera, I would appreciate it if you would stop changing the tint all the time on my... Yeah, I'm watching you, camera. But I stopped playing because I realized that I was essentially a space Republican. I had all the money I could ever need to do anything, but I kept making more money. More money, always. I wanted more. Not because I needed more, but just because it was possible. And I thought that was sort of weird, and I felt like I wasn't really playing the game. So I quit the game until further notice. Maybe someday in the future I'll pick it up again. I really hope those tint changes and color changes aren't constant. I prefer this color. I wonder if I just like keep my hand here if it'll stay. Oh, no. I hope that doesn't end up in the final video. That would sort of stink. How did you get to the name Megneous by Tim3LPs? The name Megneous actually is sort of interesting. Those of you know that I very much enjoy space and dinosaurs and science and stuff like that. I also, at one point in my life, really liked geology. I never studied geology in university, mind you. Most things I study in university because, you know, I was in university and I needed to take classes anyway. May as well take things that I enjoyed. I also enjoyed geology, but I never took a class. Now, igneous rocks, I believe that obsidian is an igneous rock. There are a few others that we could name off, but that's not really important. Igneous rocks, I believe, are rocks that are made in like volcanic activity. And igneous rocks were my favorite rocks when I studied geology in high school out of igneous, metamorphic, and sedimentary rocks. So I wanted a name that sounded like igneous, and also rocks are just generally cool anyway. I actually almost went with an LP name, Granite. Yeah, people could call me Gran, and my name would be Granite on YouTube, but I decided not to go with that. That was sort of strange. So I decided to take igneous and put an M in front of it because my name is Michael, and it was Megneous, and I thought that Megneous sounded really strange. So I decided to change the I to an E to Megneous, and I thought that sounded pretty cool. So that's the name that I ended up going with. My name is Megneous. Michael plus igneous rocks equals Megneous. Strange, but I like it. I like it now. It fits. Lapuis Ostro says, you awesome. Lapuis, no, you are awesome. Random Code 9 asks me, why do we always get the S block in Tetris when we need an I block? Random Code 9, I'm sorry, but there are some things even I don't know. I'll let you know if I find out, though. TNT is cool 54 asks me, do you know or will you buy a game called SimCity 5? I didn't buy it because I knew it was going to suck terribly, and I was right, and all of the controversy that came from SimCity 5 was really entertaining, but I didn't really want to be any part of it. It was not exactly something I wanted to get involved with. A lot of drama. EA is sort of a crap company. They treat gamers very badly and treat gaming like a business industry rather than an art, and they don't treat their developers very well. They're a really bad publisher. They have lots of good games, but they have a very bad attitude, and I don't approve of that. I approve more so of how indie developers approach the industry and how indie developers approach customers and gamers in general. That's the difference. Indie developers view their customers as gamers, whereas EA views gamers as customers. And I think there's a very big difference in that sort of outlook when you're approaching the gaming industry, so I don't approve of EA, and I won't be buying any SimCity games from now on, because, yeah. Alright, let's see. Will you ever make a pig farm by Ahmed Mauri? And the answer to that is no, I never did make a pig farm in my first Minecraft Dinosaurs LP, but I suppose in the future, since we're in a new world, we can make a pig farm. I'll keep that in mind. Pig farm, pig farm, pig farm. He also asks, will you make a moat of lava to protect yourself from zombies, skeletons, spiders, endermen, and creepers? That is also something we never did. I never really played around with moats of water, let alone lava. Sounds really dangerous. Sounds like something that I would love to try to do. So, maybe. We'll work on it. We'll see. Jet Dino Zoo. That is not a question. Let's see. That is not a question either. Elizabeth Hewitt asked me what is my favorite game, and again, that would probably be Final Fantasy XI. I wish that Final Fantasy XI would just be like updated to current graphics and maybe like add some more stuff, like more jobs and stuff like that, and basically wipe the servers and make everyone start all over again. I think that would do it. Also get rid of level sync, because level sync, although an amazing feature for Final Fantasy XI, was not something... I think it sort of ruined the community, because Final Fantasy XI used to be a game where you were forced to play with these people you hated, and you had to work together as a team, and it was really freaking hard to level. Like, Yatunga Jungle, the first time I remember leveling up through it was like absurd. I have over 111 days played on Final Fantasy XI, and I never did get a single character to level 75 because I stopped playing before Level Sync came out. Level Sync made everything so much more convenient, yes, but it also made the game so easy to get parties, and it made everyone like so easy. Everything was so easy to do after that when I did play it a little bit after Level Sync, I just decided that it wasn't the game that I remembered playing, and oh well. So yeah, Final Fantasy XI always.